Yeah, I told him to come in whenever he's ready. He can come in. I bet you it's going to just... An ad's going to come in. Oh, no, we got off to a good start. So I suppose this is a commentary, so I'll try and talk as much as I can and everyone. Yeah, shout out to Will Scarano. That's the first Woodstock Roadshow animation. That was nuts. Yeah, shout out to Will. He's great, and he's worked with us on everything since Degreaser. So, yeah, he's a good man. So, black screen.
Very artistic choice.
Very artistic choice. There's a lot going on. Yeah, you sort of hear the guitar of Jim playing there. That's not the first song he did, but this is the theme.
I wanted to go to like Breaking Bad stuff.
Yeah.
Like that type of stuff.
And we hard cut to a dirty fan, and we're in a hotel room. And I remember when we were doing the test screening, Jim and I were in there, and we were so nervous. And when that fan when I went from black to the fan coming in, the guy who owned the cinema went clean. He went, yeah, Leighton at Westgarth Theatre, and he was like clean, and I knew that. I was like, fuck that, crisp. That's what he said. Sorry, crisp. Yeah, the camera's panning along the table. We got some Degreaser flyers there.
That fucking is still. I feel like that book was fucking everywhere. I think. Yeah, it was in the car, and yeah, it's even though it probably didn't like show. I think is it in the glove box when you see the gun too, or
It's on the dash.
yeah, on the dash. Yeah, so that I remember. Yeah, it was fucking everywhere.
It was. It's everywhere in the film.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's something we wanted to do as well. Like I wanted
To have a lot of details thrown out, so if you do watch it a second time, you can gauge, oh, holy shit, I missed that the first time. But like, I know the revolver, spoiler alert, but the revolver you shoot Vic with, that's in the glove box when I open it to throw the eggs out. But I thought I'd say as well, the spider. So this whole intro, on the page, it was like fairly well structured. It set up the story. But when we got in the room, we realised like we were just moving and we were just improvising. Like this in the mirror's improvised. But what I was saying though, I've got sidetracked. That spider, that was improvised. You can't prepare for a huntsman just perfectly crawling along the table. So from that point, I decided to make the whole introduction improvised, just for us to loosen up, and bit of a risk, but it paid off because I think all this improvised shit is much better what was on the page. But yeah, so who's that ugly? Who's that ugly mug? Yeah, it's so hard to actually to just talk about it, and I just want to sit here in silence and watch it. But yeah, this was all improvised. This was 2.5 years ago. You can see it in the shoulders. I'm quite a scrawny, and in the face, I'm quite a little guy. Yeah, this is so funny. I remember we were jet film.
after his major role.
Looked like a fucking skeleton. Is it true you dropped 80 pounds to? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but this was improvised as well. I think we sort of we had a couple of dot points that we wanted to cover for Bernie to just shit for Bernie to say. But really, it was all improvised, and this was pretty much your first line in the movie. Like chronologically, like we pretty much shot it all the way through, and
it always looks so fucking hot.
Yeah.
The whole movie from the start, it just looks like it's 45 outside the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. Maxie, do you have anything you want to say about the first day?
Yeah, well, obviously,
I've got no idea.
like watching it, another massive, like major game changer in terms of. Sorry, I'm just watching me being a dickhead. When I first seen this as I knew that it probably wouldn't go all the way, but when we filmed this, it was a whole different film, like a feel to it, because I remember when you were first playing around with editing and stuff like that, you actually had like spill the wine and stuff like that.
Yep.
And another thing was when Billy told me about the a less comedic sort of approach to it. I thought it's going to be hard because obviously the funny side of it is these people clearly don't really know. They don't back themselves. They don't. So I felt like it needed that bouncy, music, like a bit of a circus, sort of with the carnival music playing in the background.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
to keep it light, right?
yeah, to keep it light.
Yeah.
So then to see this, which I didn't actually see till the premiere. Like I didn't hear this scene in the music, and
What was it like when you first heard it?
it was unreal.
Was
like
it different? It was a lot different.
it was
Changed the
it was
whole
it was a
tone of the
whole.
film,
It was
yeah.
literally
was bizarre.
watching a different thing, and the whole feel that it gave was a complete different vibe, which I reckon. You know, when you think about it, the scenes that follow this, like walking through the water park, and really the rest of the movie, like there's funny bits in that, but the tone that from here, like I think having something bouncy that wouldn't suit it. So
For sure. Yeah. It would have felt too gimmicky, I think. And
Yeah.
it did feel too gimmicky when I was watching it with the Spill the Wine. And it didn't feel like it was ours as well because that had been used. That had been used in Boogie Nights by fucking Paul Thomas Anderson, and I didn't. And you know, people as soon as that song would come on, if you knew, if you know, you know, and people would be like, "Oh, that's been used before." You know, it's just like beating a dead horse. So I think Jim coming on board, and I always say Jim saved the movie in so many different ways, not to suck you off, but he did though. He fucking did. Like I mean, and the score that you did just fits every tone for every scene seamlessly. This is incredible.
I remember you wanted.
This is in Mildura, and it's still there, still closed to this day. They haven't found the funding. That's across the street. Yeah, but I went past it last week when we were in Mildura for the ski race, or 2 weeks ago, for Easter. And I always look at it and it's like, fuck. But another improvised thing, like the first act of the movie is a lot of it's maybe not improvised, but just on the fly. Like we followed instincts and we were like, let's go with it.
Like spine tingle.
Yeah.
And again, like the heat side of things, like even the music is fucking
And now I realised only watching it on the night of the premiere, it is a West. The movie is
It's almost got like it's got like a suffocating feeling
like
of
small Western
I
I remember for this scene, Bill, you wanted me to do something like Papa was a Rolling Stone. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I was playing around like that by the Temptations. They were doing.
You know the song, is it the Nice Guys? Boom.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah. And I was playing around with that, and then it got to the point where like there's the shot of just the eyes, your eyes, and his name's Christian. Yeah.
Shout out to Christian.
Shout out to Christian.
We love
He
you.
gets an egg thrown at him. Fuck us. This. I'm like that. Just reminds me of like a Western movie.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's so many like genres that come into it. Like I even reckon at some points as well, like it shifts. Like when Vic's looking for us, it sort of turns into like a horror movie. Like when he's by his bike, and when he's riding on the bike. But while Christian's in the frame,
And this is funny, you know?
Christian was. We worked with Christian for some time, and he was amazing. And as soon as I told him we were shooting a movie, he was just like pretty much. He wanted in. He wanted to be a part of it, and obviously that's him. That's him on the bike. That's not fake. That's his bike. And he rode out to Broadford on a Sunday morning and gave us a chop out for that. And he also came back to Murphy Road where I threw the egg at him.
Shout out to no sponsors here, but McDonald's for the McMuffins.
Yeah, they are McDonald's
real-
McMuffins.
they are real McMuffins.
And by that point they were like
sponsored
cold
by
and soggy.
Not a plug.
Our Uncle Pooey said he spotted straight away that they were McDonald's wrappers, and he's like, "That's bullshit. That you should have."
Oh, really?
Yeah, but no, I will wear that one. That got a few laughs. The I-351 number plate that comes back in for people who get the joke later on. But it was exciting. Like this was the second day of shooting.
It was
Of the whole thing, and
Yeah,
it was,
it was.
and
This was early.
it was early, and people were coming past, weren't they?
This was always like this. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Shit. Put them on silent. That's my agent.
Fucking asshole.
This scene, there's actually.
Spielberg can't let you off for 2 minutes.
But this scene, it's actually like obviously like there's no service station across the road. It's actually the main pub in Whittlesea.
That's
so
right. Yeah.
That
Two different locations.
That location at that hotel, or the units, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It was always like Larricantville. Like there was always
sock
someone. There was always someone like walking their dog and
There's the book.
having
There's the
a
book.
look. There's the
It's
book
on the
again.
dash. It's on the dash.
But there was always someone walking their dog or driving past or stopping in the wrong spot, and then later on when we were filming there at night time to get the shots of us working out
Remember the piss wrecks?
the piss wrecks
Yeah.
that were out the front of the pub.
Oh,
Like,
you're filming a fucking movie.
right.
Oi,
Yeah.
what? No, that was.
What lens is it?
Yeah, well, and then they start
Yeah.
talking about the one tonner,
Yeah.
and then they start
What lens
asking,
is it? Like
Yeah.
they fucking know.
Yeah.
So is that a red motor in that? And then the other bloke's like, no, they discontinued the red motor in fucking.
Thanks for the knowledge, boys.
Billy Ricardo.
Yeah,
Billy, come
we
in.
actually got pretty pissed this day too.
And it was
Did you?
9.
Yeah.
Where we're sitting right now, this is where I had the camera. I was filming them.
It was in here.
It was in here. The pool table was in the corner there, and it was about 9:30 on a Saturday morning. And I reckon you guys I was drinking with them because I didn't want to make you feel bad and get you pissed. So I started drinking with them, and between me and them,
Very gracious.
I think we all had. Yeah, it was very gracious. It's the right thing to do as the director. But yeah, and we all had about maybe 8 beers between each other before 12 o'clock. Like it was like 11 o'clock, and we were pissed. Here we are. Yeah. That's a refocusing board for headlights. It's not a lineup. It's not a wall. Yeah, we're rolling behind a tow truck here. Muggsy's driving. Come in, Muggsy. Here he is. Come over here. Come in the middle.
I didn't think that was gonna fucking work.
Yeah, he's here. Vic Harrington's here. Muggsy's here. Come on, say something. You've just entered the room. Say anything. Go.
Another beer?
Of course you can. Take that.
Yeah,
The monster of the film.
Go on, Mick. We don't want any dead air. Come on, just speak.
No, that's all right. Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing this. I think I remember this day. The old one tonner out, dragged her out the shed.
What's it like for you having seen it from absolute start to absolute end with the big screening and everything, and not even sort of like having it in your mind whatsoever? Like your son.
Yeah, it's pretty out there. We went from an idea to doing it, and it just went bigger and bigger and bigger, and kept coming out with all these ideas, and that was fantastic.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was so
And
much fun.
and I don't know, just the way it all come together, the way he done the filming and the editing and the like. When you're just filming one thing, you think when you're watching a movie, you don't realise how much it involves until you start doing it. And you go, well, how are you going to film him in the cabin with the other guy, and then he puts it all together like they were in there together, and they weren't.
Yeah.
All those things really spun me out.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like how things come together.
Yeah, and just to chime in, like that's what independent filmmaking is. It's about saying this is what we've got. You know,
Yeah.
How can we utilise it?
It's what can we
And
work
so
with,
many
yeah.
people like they might have like a different scenario than what we do. We just had cars readily available, and we had a world that we were all familiar with, and that's why
We
came
use what
together.
was at our
Well, that's
at our
right.
fingertips.
Yeah, exactly. And I reckon for independent filmmakers, like they always say it, like I don't know, like if your dad's a butcher, shoot him in a butcher shop. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and-
yeah.
and,
You've
know,
got the tools
and-
you can use around
Yeah,
you.
exactly. You know, you don't always have to look for that perfect story
Yeah.
and with the perfect cast and the perfect
Wow.
locations.
Yeah,
you
a
know?
lot was spoken about
We would-
before.
yeah,
If
we-
you're gonna
Yeah,
go, oh, I've got this thing, and all of a sudden you go, well, if you don't have all these things at your fingertips, it's like, well, where do we get that car from? Or where do we?
Yeah.
How do we shoot this?
That's
scene?
it.
If we haven't got all these things
Yeah.
around you,
yeah.
or like it'd be, you can see how budgets and that just get blown out. And so if
Yeah.
you've got nothing,
Yeah, for sure.
you go, shit,
Yeah.
you have to be get a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, or hire
Yeah.
things or whatever.
I got something to say about this scene.
Yeah.
Here we go. So this is one long take. The whole shot. There's two sort of shots with the dialogue, and this is the longest one, and it goes for about 3 minutes. And Max and I went there in the morning. This is in Barmer, right on the Murray there on Victorian side, and we went and shot it. And I got a bunch of coverage, like there was close-ups, and we were going behind Bernie's shoulder, we were going behind Val's shoulder, all OTS shit like that. And we went back and I put it in the computer because I brought the computer up to Barmer. And I started sort of trying to piece it together right after we shot, and it just didn't fit. Still got all the shots in, and actually I'll put them in as well over this right now so you can see sort of different shots of this scene. But I remember Max said straight away, what do you think? I said, it's not right. And Max said, I agree, it's not right. Let's go back in the car and shoot it again. So we went back, memorised it as best we could. I knew the script at the back of my hand, and Max had been picking it up then as well. And we just went for it, and it's this long take. And it's one of my favourite parts in the film, I reckon. And especially the backdrop, it looks like a painting. Kat, you're blocking the camera. But see you, Bill. Give it up for Billy Ricardo. Thank you, Billy. See you later. See you later. And the other thing, Max, you'll like this one. You'll remember this one. I was just telling you about the long take, how we went there in the morning, and we didn't like it, weren't satisfied, went back and blitzed it. So I've covered all that.
Yeah.
But do you remember this day when we were by the pontoon relaxing in the summer, and those junkies came and kicked us off the pontoon? This is the same day. Yeah, so if you guys are watching, you can go get fucked. And, thanks for scaring us out of Barmer that day. Yeah, and Muggsy came up, ready to roll, like Vic, coming for some vengeance. Yeah, there you go.
We shot it, Billy probably just went over it, but we weren't obviously happy with it. But we packed a lot in this day. This was one of those days where it was felt like a good progress in terms of getting the shots that we needed, obviously. But even still with that, we weren't quite happy with what we'd done in some spots, and we're still able to fit even more in. And remember, you'll probably see it in the next scene. It's really, really hazy. Yeah. Because there were those massive bushfires in New South Wales, and all the smoke was, and it was a really, really sunny. You can even sort of see it down the river there. It was a real hazy day, and the whole place. So for people who are, don't know Victoria and New South Wales or whatever, how far away were the bushfires from Palmer?
They were very
hundreds and hundreds of kilometres away, so it provided another sort of different outlook.
And that's what obviously I'm not saying that that's cool that there were bushfires, but there were so many things that just fed into the whole process of filming where it felt like a miracle. It's very smoggy, and it felt like a miracle, to be honest. Like, even at the start of the film, you saw an old blue pickup truck come past. That was just on a Saturday morning, and out of all the hundreds of thousands of models of cars that could have come through that morning, a blue pickup truck came through, and it fit the colour palette perfect, it fit the era perfect. But I'm sure we'll have a lot of shit to say about this. But
this is my favourite scene.
Yeah, this is the best, my favourite scene in the movie. And I think it's the best scene in the movie. The way it plays out, it's unreal. Foxy, this is for sure. Because I think at this point it was just we were catching up, we were getting to know these characters, and then here's the first real plot point that comes in the movie. And it's like, all right, we're moving somewhere now, and I think in the cinema as well, everyone loved it, and especially the build-up and the shift of tone that it has. Like I was saying before, sort of like a comedy, then it spikes and it goes down, and there's a certain reality that kicks in for all the characters. But what can I say about Foxy? I remember I wrote the script for him, and I knew that he's not going to remember lines. He's going to get confused if I say this is your character. So I just wrote him as Foxy, and I was feeding him lines behind the camera all afternoon. And there was no other way to do it, which is an unorthodox way of doing it. To feed people lines is ridiculous, but we're not fucking. He's not a Hollywood actor, He knows what he knows, and how does he do what? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was just up in the bedroom actually with young White. He wanted to look at something up there.
Yeah.
And the phone rang,
Oh yeah.
I said,
Good on him.
So we're having a bit of a chat.
He's still up there.
I'm actually going to go up there tomorrow and see him.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
So we're going to head up there, but mate, we're just having a bit of a chat with him. I go, what are you doing? He goes, I just had a little bit of something to bed. I just had a red wine, and I'm going to go to bed and watch the footy. Maybe. He goes, I'll probably be asleep shortly.
And
that's obviously
good on him.
my father, Billy's and Max's grandfather.
Fox.
And that's the Fox's home where he lives, obviously full time up at Barmer, up in New South Wales there.
That's it.
And that's his pad. That's it.
Maxie, what do you got to say? What do you got to say about Foxies? I want to hear
what do you got to say about your grandfather?
Experience like that.
Yeah, as I sort of touched on it earlier, I think I was very excited to do this scene. Just even like obviously just reading it, I thought that it was going to be a key scene, and it was that tenfold. But even like the altercation, I guess you could call it, that they have inside in the running shot. I don't know, that became a bit of a shot that me holding the barrels and for for the movie, I think you've dropped it in a couple of trailers and stuff like that, and the whole, you'll hear me spoiler it, but start the fucking car and I run down and all that. But yeah, just this whole scene was so much fun to do, and he enjoyed it and he loved it. I mean, he gets to drink beer and be a smart ass, which is literally on his back porch. He hasn't left Barmer in 30 years, so it suits him. That's his natural habitat.
Last year, he didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
He'll sit on his back porch and
Yeah.
fish off
Yeah.
If the water comes
Yeah.
up, he's dead.
This next.
We didn't have to dress the location, did we?
No. That's it. There's no added. There's nothing. The magpies landing on the trees and that. There go pies. But these.
Little fox on the statue there.
Yeah. That.
That wasn't put there.
No.
That's who Foxy is. He has these
A lo-
ornaments that reflect a little joke,
A lot of this was improvised too. This is all sort of just, us trying to capture the moment of being stoked, and obviously we come across as two dickheads, like trying to make a sale, and I feel like I've had my breakthrough moment. So
And you can see the smog there as well.
the smog is there, but another cool shot of us shaking hands, and another dart smoked, one of many. I don't know. This whole scene was really cool, and
Crazy to think as well that this scene was on the page. It was originally for up in the shed.
yes, yeah.
Because so Foxy's was meant to be up in the shed where Vic's Smash and Toe is, and Vic's Smash and Toe was originally meant to be at Wallen Auto Body. But again, it's just a beautiful thing that didn't work out, because you can't picture Vic's Smash and Toe anywhere else, and you can't picture Foxy's anywhere else. That's right, yeah. But those barrels are empty, and a lot of people said the barrels are fucking empty. They're not full, but it's more of a rort. It's more of a rort than ever. Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's it. But
Swag on the back.
yeah, and this is probably the longest part in the film that goes without score as well, Jim.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I know there's a big needle drop when you come in.
Yeah.
And and this wasn't improvised, but I just remember this day, like, we were smashing it out. The ball was rolling. I know for certain Max was definitely understanding the process of making a film, and by this point you were chiming in about the character as well, which was like really exciting for me.
Yeah.
Because it went from just me running around with the script, and you guys were just it started. You guys were just helping me out.
Yeah.
You wanted to be a part of it, and you probably could have had a lot of better things to do, but you just wanted to see it happen. But then I think we all had a certain belief in the process where you all just loved the script and you loved your characters, and there was a certain commitment where it just went from helping out a friend to like, no, I want to do a good job here because this there's something special.
Yeah, and I think like
My friend Jack.
yeah, but I kind of misunderstood him a little bit probably at that character. This is when I was probably I'm that kid on the right. Yeah, no, I probably understood him a little bit more and sort of thought he was this real, just like, I don't know, like unapproachable type of person. But here it comes.
He's like a gentle giant.
Yeah.
Gentle giant.
Yeah.
He's very misunderstood.
Yeah.
Foxy, and this was Foxy's probably. This is it.
Bugsy, you'll be able to say it better, but this was probably the greatest moment of Foxy's life, where he can shoot at people on screen. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I did. Look, that's all he wanted to do is get older. Said, give me that gun. And I think he thinks he's a bit of a real life gangster. I think. You know what I mean? I think he always said when I was young, if I ever get sick, I'm gonna rob a bank. I go, yeah. Well, I said, but you wouldn't get sick and you'll end up spending the rest of your life in jail. But no, I spoke to him after it about the gun and everything, and he goes, "Oh, it was just so much fun." Yeah. And then after that, he goes, "I just can't wait. When am I going to see it? When's it going to be finished?" And he kept going. Yeah. How long is it going to take? When's it going to be finished? When can I see it? He was that excited. Yeah, don't take too long. In other words,
He's like, oh, if I'm fucking gone tomorrow, I'm gone.
you don't know what's going to happen. I might not get to see it. Yeah.
And that just made me think as well.
Yes, sir.
I just want to
Say shout out to Bowie, Larry Botel, and he's not with us anymore. But throughout the process of making the film, he'd when I was working, he'd come in and he'd say, you know, and he'd do this, like a rolling camera, and he'd go, "What's going on? Tell me, tell me what's going on." I said, "Oh, we're here. We just need to film this part, and I need to play around with this, and I need to figure out. I need a storyboard." And he was just like, "I don't care. I couldn't give a fuck what you have to say." And and unfortunately, he passed away before he couldn't see the film. So God rest his soul. And that was a big push for me, because I think I was at that point in time I was still worried about, you know, what if it's not perfect and blah blah blah. And it was so grouse just having people like him and just involved throughout the process, even if he wasn't behind the camera or on screen. There was so many people who had an impact on the process, even if they don't know it. So shout out to Bowie, love ya.
And such a I mean, I know he was sort of saying it in a funny way to you when he come into work and stuff, but that was probably one of the biggest things that you took from it, to be like, yeah, you can write the script and you can sit down and you can storyboard and that, but sometimes you do just need to go out there. You need to make the mistakes. You need to reshoot stuff, and nothing's gonna get done if you're thinking about it 24/7. Obviously, you were thinking about it 24/7, but you know what if this, what if that, and second guessing yourself. Like, what a good piece of advice you probably took from that you'll use forever to say, let's just fucking fucking do it.
And that's why, and that paid off. That paid off in the cinema as well. I think the biggest thing was watching it on the big screen with everyone, and feeling every moment, and me knowing all us knowing every little detail and nuance that went into the production. No one else knew it, but it was amazing. Go.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the
Max. But I remember I'd watched this scene maybe 48 times, and before I'd met you, I was just like, I know what you're going to say. I know exactly how you talk. I know your mannerisms. And I was just like, but when I met you, I remember I repeated something from this scene to you. And I was like, you've said that? You know, like we've got that in common. You know, I've seen it. But
that score, though, I remember throughout the process.
Yeah, this one was just weird, because it was the first time that I wasn't playing guitar ever. And I was just trying to use like droning sounds and there was all that sort of mystical whatever. Yeah. Just something to give the air of uncertainty, because it was like, are you guys going to kill each other or something like that? You know, it doesn't. I don't know.
You didn't know what was going to happen.
Nah. So it was really real fun. But I remember I just watched that scene so many times, and I finally met you in person, and I felt like I knew you. It was crazy. But
the way testament to you, and if you can talk through a little bit, like, having to come up with so many different themes of score, like obviously that Western feel at the start, and then having to work out what you need to do next, like for a scene like that.
Yeah, well,
challenging.
It was challenging, but Bill was like always really good reference, because I no idea, like going into it entirely blank. Just like I mainly play blues guitar, and not understanding like what do you want. So he would send me like sort of 3 or 4 reference tracks, and then I would take those 3 or 4 reference tracks and then mix them with like what I sort of like in my, like I can sort of do it, and then I would be like, okay, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't have like somebody that can sing opera or something like that, and then I just minimize it down to what I can do in my bedroom, and then I'd send it to Bill and be like, mate, that's good, let's run with that, and I'd be like, fuck yeah, every time. There was never a time where he's like, nah. So it was always good, and it just gave me confidence to keep going. And
once you got those first.
But also, like you guys were saying before, I had no idea what went into it. I had no clue, but I was like, fucking, let's go, you know? Let's go. Let's see, let's make a movie out of nothing.
What are you going to say about your first day? This was your first day, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think it was, I didn't really know what to expect. And Billy was steering me through everything that I had to do. And all the time I was doing it, I thought, this is going to be shit. As far as not the movie, as far as me, what I was doing, everyone's going to go, look at this clown.
But want to be like tough guys.
But when you put it all together,
that's crazy that you thought that as well.
Oh, I did. I just thought, not going to look like a real thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's just going to look like fucking, look at him, he's a clown. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But when you look at it on the big screen, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, it all comes together.
It does.
That's
It's
it,
amazing. Oh, I just love seeing all the scenes. Like when you actually look at it, we know exactly where all these things are, but
Yeah.
other people looking
No,
at
yeah.
it, we think, gosh,
It could just-
where are they now?
Yeah.
And a lot of things we've just gone from one end of the property to the other,
Yeah.
and it just looks.
It looks everywhere.
It could be anywhere.
Yeah.
I
The,
can
the
imagine
world
what
feels
people
so
think
big.
what it looks like
Yeah.
overseas.
But
Exactly.
to touch on the character that you played though, like on it, like I'm not saying that
Give
that
him
is.
the mic. Give him the mic.
I'm not like we were joking about Foxy before, saying, oh well, he didn't really need to, act, because that was a lot like him. I'm not saying you are Vic Harrington, but what you've done your whole life and stuff like that, you have been in a pretty rough and tough industry, and it's obviously like most industry, they've changed a lot now, but that was the way that you had to be. Like you had to.
That's the way the towing industry and that was.
Yeah, like, and you've heard those stories, and you've been involved in and seen things happen.
Yeah, and you could quickly put it into, well, this is how it happened.
Yeah.
These are the things that really did happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
ultimately makes the whole film more authentic as well.
Yeah.
That was something like I wanted to do too. Like I didn't want to. I've said it like so many times now. Like you can have me on record saying it fucking countless amount of times. But I wanted to write something that everyone involved on screen could sink their teeth into. I'm not going to write a role for you as an astronaut who's going to retrieve his dad from Mars at Astra or whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? Like that's just not going to work. Like and I mean, you could be a sophisticated James Bond type character, but in the reality of what we've got and our environment and the life we live and the things we're passionate about, that's not going to work. So I always knew it has to be set in the industry and it has to work. And even on just a side note, I've actually written a whole nother sort of epic coming-of-age tale about a sort of coming-of-age tow truck driver throughout the late 60s and early 70s in Melbourne. And this was just sort of a side note, just a side project, because I knew that we couldn't do that. We couldn't shut down Lygon Street and make it look like 1972. Yeah. But we could take the heartbeat of it all. Yeah, well, we could. Yeah, just so help us out. But even he says. He says there, Harvey Taggery is one of the characters in this other script, but we wanted, that's how it started, didn't it, Muggsy? We were like, how do we do it? And that's another side note. Gary Taggery from Nocturnal Celluloid, they're all part of the same family tree, so something to think about. Yeah, but this was, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim. This was the first bit of music you did for the film.
Yeah. This was the first scene that I got sent in Messenger during lockdown.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was just like, from like here onwards.
Yeah.
And I just thought that, like, knowing nothing about the film whatsoever, it just reminded me of the dude walking around in Paris, Texas.
Yeah,
And
Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, and there was a lot of blues, and Ry Cooder did the soundtrack for that film,
okay.
and he's a great blues player. Like he played with Captain Beefheart, and does a lot of soundtracks. And I was like, oh, cool. I can like sort of do something like this.
Yeah.
So all you received was this actual film,
Just this, like
just like silent,
yeah.
and you thought,
And I just started playing my guitar over it, yeah. And then I tuned to, I think it was Open D, which was like a nice, warm, bluesy tuning.
Yeah.
And I just started playing this thing, and I was like, all right, well, that's pretty cool,
Yeah.
Like it just fits. It's real simple.
It does.
And I didn't know if you wanted like big or whatever it was, but it was just this at the time, and
It probably wasn't, and it wasn't probably wouldn't have been an audition or anything. Wouldn't have been an audition, but I was like, just see what you can do, surprise me, have fun. Yeah. But and then you come in as well for, it's like another needle drop after this, which I think was maybe later, but I don't know.
Yeah, and then so there ended up being like 8 or 9, maybe like I think it was like 13 in total.
Yeah.
And then some were cut out and some were put in, and then some were used as like all the radio and everything we did.
Yeah.
And just wherever it fit, we just ended up placing it at the end,
Yeah.
like because it cuts into Bernie's theme after
Yeah.
this, like when you go to the top.
Yeah.
And that was better.
Yeah.
So yeah, just whatever was the best for the scene at the time is just eventually what we did.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
This is my favourite shot. This one, it looks super clean.
Another one of those like.
Oh, it looks like it could be a poster.
Yeah.
And that I shot
And
all
look how
this
blue
by
it is.
myself.
On your own, there was no. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I said I looked at a lot of. Yeah, but probably not on that particular day. But I said when Billy started showing me things and scenes and things like that, I said, "Who's filming that?" And he goes, "Oh, me." I said, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "I just set the camera up and then climbed up the windmill and da da da." And I said, "Jesus Christ!" Like you would think that there's a
Behind
you think there's 20 people doing it, you know, and climbing up there. No, that's a shit angle or whatever. So you've actually just set it up on one angle and thought that's the angle I need, and then climbed the windmill with nobody around. Could have fucking fallen off. Nobody would have known.
But that's a good
You know,
thing.
that's
If it was
just
one
yeah.
guy climbing a windmill by himself. If there was 40 people, like, you need a harness, you need
Yeah,
this.
oh, 100%. Well, you know, we just winged it. Well, not winged, but those sorts of things. Yeah, there's probably a lot of things that you wouldn't be allowed in the real world of movie making as such. Yeah. Yeah. Like I did. Well, yeah. He's got me angry. You know, I'm really pissed off. They've tried to stitch up my old man, and I'm filthy. Yeah.
Can I chime in? So if there's one part that I regret about this whole process, we didn't reshoot one thing besides the river that day we already established. If I went back, I just wish I could just reshoot Foxy's coverage of this scene. I just don't. I remember we shot it rushed. I remember it was in winter when we shot it. It was a year after we'd shot the Foxy scene, and I was up there with my camera. I was like, "Fuck, I need this," but that line kicked the fuck. It just made up for it. It just. You know. So
It kind of has that feel of like a almost like a Mad Max when you cut to that. Like I know, like in the new one, Fury Road, where it's a little bit messy and uncomfortable. Like that one character, it's like a little bit weird. Like he's got like the stretcher and stuff like that. That's This scene here, like this really shaped Jet's character, I reckon, because obviously he's funny in that, but I think he's a little bit fucked up. Like he's like.
That goes back to the song as well, playing in the background. His name's Jack, and it's Jack. He's got some guilty pleasures. And this Jet was originally meant to be Jesse Cherry, and Jesse couldn't make it on the day of the shoot. So about 24 hours before we filmed this scene, I threw a Hail Mary to Jet, and I said, "Look, like Jesse was the first option. You're the second. Do you want to be a part of it or not?" And fucking credit to Jet, because he said I'm in, and he rocked up on set. He had to learn all the fucking lines, and he had a dance number.
I don't fucking suck.
Yeah, and this was the other thing when we were on set. Jet and I were just talking about the character, and after we established that, we realised that Jackie's guilty pleasures, Jet's character Jack, is actually a closeted gay teenager trying to survive in a world of fucking masculinity, and he's in the shed and he's just trying to play persona in this, like play character in this small town. And Jet did a really good job here at the end, and this shot here, the look he gives him, he's like, "I'm gonna suck you off." Well, and here's another side character as well.
That's another one of those dot connecting, like where the one tonner pulls up there. Like that's another like sort of This is who's going to talk shit about Alex when he's not here. We're going to.
This is Alex Emmons. I think he's actually selling that Tirana. So Slemons, I lived with him, and we drove that around in lockdown. It was really, really fun. Bad actor, horrible head, just all around shit bloke. Yeah. And his favourite line in this: "You can't hustle a hustler, hustle man." I say that to him all the time still.
And he did, you know what, as much as we wanted.
Love you, Alex.
We were rolling the dice on this because I was like, Alex, like he's such a big personality, he's such a good friend of ours and great bloke. But I just thought, you know what, there was something about him. I was like,
you're going to be really good. I know you're going to come in and you're going to steal the fucking scene from me who's been acting in it for an hour, and you're going to come in and you're just going to take it, and you're going to be one of the best actors and the best side characters in the whole film. And he fucking is. Like, he played the part so fucking well.
That is him.
I was just like, the look he's got suits the car that he's driving, the era that it's could possibly be.
Yeah. And you're like,
he's just nailed it. Really,
One of my favourite shots.
Fantastic.
One of my favourite shots is that shot of them driving off, like when Val sits in the passenger seat and he's got that like one hand grip and puts it in gear and takes off and literally just driving into the unknown. It's where the fuck is he going to take him into town?
Last time he said I'll get you home and high. It's like, where are we going? Are we going home? Are we getting high?
So no, really cool.
Yeah, and there's just something quickly up for debate. But Vic, I remember saying to Muggsy, I was like, you need to go you need to be as angry as you can here. I want you to scare Jet. And Jet reckons still to this day, he's like, God, I wish he threw me on the ground harder. I was like, how much harder do you want him to throw you on the ground? I disagree. I think it's great the way it is. But Jet was like, he could have thrown me down harder. Yeah. He reckons you went easy on him. But it's a great scene. And I remember, and this is what the whole film is. There's these sort of comedic elements throughout. Then there's these dramatic spikes where, there's so much like threat throughout it, and there's so much. Not even at this point, it's not suggested. You know what Vic's capable of, and probably where he's off to now as he's backing out that beautiful C30 Chev that Muggsy doesn't have anymore. We all worked on that car, And just a side note, halfway through production, so when Muggsy's on the bike at the end, when Vic's on the bike at the end, beautiful mounted shot by the way, I love that. We had that C30, that's like another character, because the cars are characters, the bikes are characters in this movie too. And that C30 was meant to drive to the hotel room, but you sold it halfway through production, he got an offer he couldn't refuse, and he had to get rid of it. So we said, well, you got a fucking Harley, just use the Harley.
That one tonner there is that scene there where he's bouncing along, and that's a perfect scenario of how do you get that shot, Whereas obviously the one tonner's up on the back of the old C30 Chev, and we're filming off the back of it there. It was amazing, really. Which I didn't think would ever look.
Surprised us. We were both like, what fuck?
Although it's just going to look any good, it's going to look stupid.
And another,
it's bizarre.
And another hats off moment to Jet. Like, we were genuinely going down a quiet road, but we were going down a fucking road, and he's on the front of the tow truck. That was a really, really fun time too. Like, obviously we were a little bit worried about Jet, but I think a few moments made it in the bloopers, like the gag reel at the end.
I had no idea how that was all going to work.
No.
So what do you mean?
I think we both did.
We're going down the road. I said, how are we going to do that? We'll put it on the tow truck.
Like,
That's not going to look real.
which Billy in film terms calls it a float.
A float.
So, but those scenes were funny, and like obviously being on the truck, it was bouncy, and like we were trying to get these shots. And then, when we're having those conversations, obviously there's only, I'm talking to no one. I'm talking to the cameraman. So Billy's not in the car, and Jet's just trying to film, and then he'd hit this big bump, and his fucking head is like end up, and the camera would end up in his crotch.
Yeah, it was amazing. One thing I'll put in here as well. This is one of my favourite scenes, and how we shot I wouldn't say a lot of the movie, but maybe about 30% of the movie, when there's dialogue scenes between Bernie and Val, and the camera's cutting back, so it's not a two-shot. Like when we're not in the same frame, it's cutting back and forth. We're actually not in the room. So I'm setting up the camera. I go into there during the week and I shoot my lines. Then Max comes in when we can get him in, when he's available, and he does his lines. And then in the edit, I just cut them back together, which again, not the way you're supposed to do it, but it goes back to independent filmmaking. Make it work, and the scene still works. It doesn't feel like that we're not there. And this is another bit of movie magic in indie filmmaking. We couldn't get Christian in to punch me that day, so that is actually Muggsy in the vest punching me. Yeah. Still punching people. Every role in this movie is just punching people. Yeah. But and I think as well, like this, the whole buddy aspect of the movie as well, because that was a massive thing. I love like buddy films, from like fucking Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, and even more recent, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was a massive inspiration for the movie too. I remember the day after I saw the premiere for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I sat down and started writing because it was the perfect buddy movie, and that's what I was looking for. So these scenes here are my favourite, when you just get to see Bernie and Val, not Max and Billy, because by this part it's disappeared now, I believe. Yeah, and they're just partners in crime, and it's quite a toxic relationship, as they call it in 2023, but it is a productive one in a way. So it's so cool. But I always just think about Bernie and Val and everything. I will mention I've been working on a novelization of Degreaser, and it's a book, and so it's like the whole movie is a book, and because I just can never escape these two fucking characters. I just think they're just so cool. But but anyway, this was hard. You got the line quicker than me. Like, there's takes of me sitting in there by myself, tit sucking, mum fucking fuck. I couldn't get it, and it took me about 10 takes. Lily! Yeah. The only girl in the movie, and she gets called a scrag and told to fuck off. Yeah. Yeah, and that's probably the nicest Lily's ever been. She's playing a character. Love you, Lily.
I remember saying to Billy, I just hated watching myself saying that line, like, too fucking right, mate, and shutting the door. I'm like, you need to, like, I don't know why. If that, I was just like,
because in this scene, I remember telling you you've got a buzz on. You're not drunk, but you're a bit tipsy.
yeah,
You just made a fucking around sale.
yeah,
No, keep going.
yeah. No, your computer's doing swirly shit now. Will that still be recording? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There was just something about that scene. Like, yeah, we had to. This was honestly the hardest one to film. I think. Like, for me, this bit was the hardest bit to film. Probably because I don't know. Bernie's never been in this sort of frame of mind or state, or he hasn't been the winner, and all of a sudden he's, he always seems probably, or is made to be like the one, regardless if he's got his own plan and what he thinks he should do. I think Val's plan always overrides him, and he sort of doubts himself, and then I think sort of from the Foxy sale, how he pitched it, he gets a little bit of confidence, and then this bit, he's just like, fucking, I've just conquered it. So for him to sort of go to that point, that's what I found pretty
I will
hard.
say as well, Jim, you have to speak about
Didgeridoo.
this song because it is one of my...
Is this you actually?
Nah. That I was just about to say that. Every time that somebody saw this or I showed it to someone, they were like, "Oh my god, you're playing didgeridoo?"
Yeah.
But nah, it's literally just like 5 or 6 cuts of a didgeridoo looped,
And then you put that.
and then I just chopped them together. Yeah, and I tried to keep it like at this point, try to get it more intense and a little bit louder. But that's really it. But I thought that it was just cool because it was like the Australian landscape, and it's a really good instrument to just like keep a drone and like add intensity.
Consistent fucking tone.
Yeah. And I thought that like Australian movie deserves some didgeridoo in there somewhere.
Absolutely.
it's pretty cool. Like, it's an awesome instrument and it's so underrated. Yeah. So I was like,
absolutely,
this is the perfect scene for the didgeridoo. But that's about it.
This is where I feel like it gets into, like, we go into like almost like horror movie territory. Like, there's something really daunting. And in the cinema, I remember that music, like to put a cherry on top, that music in that moment was fucking like really like crazy for the audience. It was very intense, and then it's this like perfect jarring experience where it hard cuts to By Any Means, which is like probably one of the key songs in the film. But yeah, I remember I was in the back of I was in the tray of Muggsy's old Silverado. Remember that? I was in the back of the tray, Max was driving, and I was filming you on the Harley. Then this is a separate day. This is one of my favourite shots. And how fast do you think you were going that day, Muggsy, on that road?
Probably 150,
Fucking
60.
Yeah,
Hitting 100 mile an hour when we done a couple of the shots, which is probably 150,
and you
150.
can see the camera shake when you go past there. You can
Yeah, we're moving. We're on it.
Yeah, these
You just know bad shit's about to happen. Like, look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've gone from that road that was a back street to that other road where we were going flat out, and the other scene we're probably doing like 30 mile an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The landscape, the landscape in all the drive, like the backdrop in all the driving shots or riding shots is so not just Australian, but so this area as well. They really make it. Obviously, you kept that. You knew your location so well. You wanted to keep that. Yeah. The barbed wire, the sun, the gum trees. There's
and like back to what we were saying, like these are fucking things that why you make what's around you and what's around us. I'm just so thankful for it. Is like a lot of these sunsets and shit and these locations that we capture, they're not even a kilometre from our house. Some of them are actually 10 metres from where I go to bed. So it's
even this scene here in the backyard of our house.
That's right. It's in the backyard, the old pool house.
And
like it's
another thing to mention, like Jim was saying before, like he got these bits of like video and this footage, and then he had to put stuff together when you were in COVID. A lot of this was done in lockdowns. Like there was a lot.
It feels like just watching it from an outside perspective and not realizing. Watching it from an outside perspective and not realizing, you don't think that it's all shot in like a 100-meter radius. You're like, this is fucking giant. It's going everywhere, and you can never tell. Like, this room could be anywhere in Australia. You know what I mean? It could be.
And that was such a big part, like going into it. Like, not to be too preachy and too patriotic, but I can't help it. But making a film for me, it can never be anywhere else. If I'm going to do something with you boys ever, I mean, arguably we did just set our last short film in America, but like for a feature and Vietnam, but for a feature length film, like on a story on a bigger scale. This is the last time we see each other. Yeah.
And now you're looking at it, it's like...
it's the last time they meet. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. The little junkie. Yeah. But and this was where the drunk cunts across the pub were talking to me right there on the camera. Yeah. But this was improvised as well. Oh, actually, no, it wasn't. Actually, no, this was in the script. Like, rip the Band-Aid off, roll it up. But I was meant to have a close-up shot of me snorting like a fake line through a fucking Band-Aid. I was like, I can't do that. And also as well, I just didn't like. I not to sound like an idiot, but I just like drugs in movies and that's just not really an appealing thing for me. Like, the close-up shot of someone snorting a line of coke is like the most cliche thing you can do, unless it's Easy Rider.
Yeah. And Requiem for a Dream's cool with that.
Yeah, if that's what the film is, and that but here, like, there's so many things in the film, like even the Anzac statue. Like, I wanted to make it very clear that it's in Australia, and these are things that I see in my eye walking down the street, and it's like, that needs to be in film. And it needs to be representable. This is Church Street, Whittlesea. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And that goes to show how locally filmed it was. Like, we visit this location, and every time I fucking walk down there, or this alley, this is between, it's famously known as Whittlesea as the Wog Shop. So, and they have the plug to the Wog Shop. Their homemade chicken nuggets are the fucking best. But Uncle Cheesy. But yeah, we visit these. I literally walked on that street today. I went to the bottle shop when I left work today, and you're literally looking across at where we filmed the unit. Where we were staying.
It's bizarre that it's going to be Anzac Day in a couple of days.
Yeah.
This shot. Love this shot.
It's my favourite shot in the film, I think. And it was just so easy. I remember I've got like a suction cup mount, and I mounted it to the front fender of your Harley, and I said, just ride, and it'll look like whatever it looks like. Just another perfect miracle, It's a bit experimental, but I've never seen a shot like it. I remember the first time I did it. Yeah, perfectly. And I remember sending it to Jet, and I was like, I don't want to sound like a wanker. I was like, but have you ever seen a shot like this before? And Jet's an encyclopedia of film. He's seen just about everything there is. And he said, no, I haven't seen a shot like that before. It's really interesting. And I was like,
picking up a piece of the headlight.
Yeah. And
I think a lot of people who watched there was a lot of comments like made about this scene of when Vic's trying to, he's on the hunt.
I'm looking for it.
It feels like it's about to happen.
Yeah, and obviously they're missing each other, and
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I've never noticed it.
yeah. No. But that whole shaky shot and everything like that.
This is one thing I put out on the Instagram story today. If you got any burning questions about Degreaser, ask them, because I'll ask them in this. And the only one I got was from our good friend Cole at Firewood Media over in Wisconsin. Shout out to Cole. And he asked about this scene, and he said, is this scene in Degreaser inspired by Vincent Vega's death in Pulp Fiction? And,
Holy fuck.
and 100% is. There's a lot of things in
really
this
good-
film.
that's a
Yeah,
specific
yeah,
question.
yeah. And no, you're onto it, Cole. It most definitely is. I actually shot it. I used to, Max, it was like, you lived in the bungalow first, then I came in. It's like the hand-me-down bungalow. And I filmed one time on my old VX1000, my skate camera. I actually filmed this scene by myself. And I'll bring it up as the movie's playing right now, and you can see, I'll put them together. But, and in the actual original thing I shot just in the bungalow one night by myself, there's a Pulp Fiction poster in the background. I just think that scene's great when two characters meet. I know the outcome's similar, like Vincent Vega dies, Val dies, but there's sort of different things at stake, I think, which makes it I can get away with it. It's not an exact rip-off, but
You need to get that as a poster.
yeah. I'm not
That.
going to talk about the props that were used in this scene, but
At the
this
screening
was
as well,
intense.
everyone was
Yeah.
oh shit, sorry.
Bangers, dynamite.
In the theater when we watched this was there was like when it turned from right there. yeah. I remember your sister, I think, was like, "Oh my god, Billy."
Yeah.
You know, like that was the only thing.
And you know what? And all my friends and my mates and all that, and all people I haven't seen for a while, so many people kept saying to me, "You shot your son." How the fuck did you shoot your son? And I go, "No,
asking for
it's
it."
not my son.
Yeah.
It's a movie. It's a movie." But because everybody knew us all so well,
Yeah, it looked
they
like
go,
it.
"You fucking shot Billy." I go, "I didn't shoot Billy."
And everyone after the premiere was
It's,
like, "Oh, you're alive!"
Yeah. Bizarre.
I'll chime in here. I'm sure Max has
It was
got
a
a lot to
great
say, but
scene.
I just want to say quickly. I know I've probably said that was the point where everyone was like, "Oh fuck!" The close up of the shout out to Jenna Gwen makeup. She did all the makeup effects for this film, and she killed it for that. I was in the chair for 3 hours, and she did all that makeup. It's Alex's girlfriend. Yeah, she's great. But this scene is. I'm just when I watch it, I just feel so fucking like proud. I just feel I can't feel anything but just to feel proud of you guys, because I remember when we were in this bungalow and I shot both coverage of you and Max, and we were in there for about 3.5 hours on like a Thursday night. It was a Thursday night, and I'm so proud of you guys. Just this is where it all came together, and this is the story was riding on this scene, and I'm just so proud of it from a writing perspective, from a directional perspective, because and even though it's quite basic, I think the shots like it's quite but what makes the scene really pop is the way you two interact with each other, both characters, and I can't thank I was very impressed. Behind the camera I was like, we've got something good, and then when I cut it together I was like, this is fucking amazing. Yeah everything's there. But and this is where we were all fine-tuned as well. I got very good at operating the camera. I got very good at directing. You got very good at acting. Max got very good at acting. We all gelled with each other. The chemistry was there. Jim and I were like fucking professionals in the way we conducted, organising a score. Trying, not realising it at the time, but now, and not to sound like a wanker, but at this point we were so dialed in to what we had to do. And I'm just so fucking proud of yous in this scene. Yeah.
This was,
There you go.
when the lights, when it turns off due to thunder and then there's the blackout and it turns on, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, it was and this was probably actually one of the first scenes where where you're having a conversation with someone where we were both in there shooting it at the same time.
First bit of like actual dialogue as well.
Yeah.
And I had to say those lines multiple times, I must say.
Yeah.
Billy, and I said, "I just said that." He goes, "No, but you have to say it a bit like this, or have a
Different demeanour.
your reaction on your face has to be different."
Right.
And then he told me how he wanted it to look, and I had to fucking do that. You know, didn't I just do that? I go, no. And some of those little single scenes, like when he was filming me, I must have been 6 or 7 times. I fucked the lines up on one of them, and then I didn't have the right look.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just need to get this all together. You know? And that's what it did take a long time. That
I like your line backwards. I think it's like backwards hard-working pricks or something like that. Backwards hard-working pricks, like you distinguished it. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
And the look on you know, the look. I remember Billy sort of saying, you know, everything that you guys have done, you probably knew that this was gonna, like, I mean, the characters, you probably knew that this day was gonna catch up with them. Maybe not like in the severity that it did, but
like every film, there's a scene for an actor.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah, here it is, and I think the look on, you know, I remember you saying to me, like, being like, this is, you've been caught, you've been found out, like, you know, and you probably knew it too the whole time.
100%.
Yeah.
And there's just so many things in this, like, it just felt like as well, I think we all knew that it was coming to an end. We were very close.
Yeah.
Because there was probably a time halfway through production that there were so many variables that were coming in personally, and either it be financially for the film, you know, I needed to save up more money to shoot more scenes and get more equipment and things like that. But we all knew at this point, it was like, we're nearly there. We're very fucking close.
Yeah.
And
And it was a great feeling.
it was a great feeling, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
From my point of view, I'm thinking, fuck, Billy, this is, I know the amount of work and that you'd put into it, you more than anybody, you know, like, and how passionate you were about the whole thing. It's like, I just want to get it finished for you. You know? Like, I want to see it finished for you.
Yeah.
And I got to say, without you like being the absolute driving force and checking up on me, or I'm sure you did that with everyone, like, it's easy to, it's been 2 weeks now and there's been no real progress and it just sort of goes away. But it was constant, like there was always constant, like, we've got to do, and it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it makes you excited, and it's like, without that, like, I probably just wouldn't have done it on my own. 100%.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and that's what it has to be, especially, it's not like we're just shooting a short film here, you're shooting a feature, so you want to be able to rely on each other, and you want to see it done. What's the point of putting in effort and filming things if you're not going to put it out and love seeing it, you know, especially for a film on this scale, you know. It wasn't easy. But it's funny, like, we're talking about, like, the end of it all now as the story's, like, wrapping up. But
this is when it changes.
Yeah, this is the shift. This is, like, the big dramatic shift, you know, where there's consequence now, you know. It's suggested the whole time of all the animosity that Vic has that's boiling up, all the intensity that you and I have, but also there's that oblivious sort of approach that Vic has upon us, and now it's here, and you need to settle in and you need to sit in and watch it. But I remember in the cinema, this part, one of my favourite things was sitting in silence and just, like, no one laughing, because, like, no one was laughing at the movie the whole time, which was great. But this was that they were just completely, I feel like they were completely absorbed in the moment and were listening to every line. And this is a cool little effect here. But go on, Jim.
I remember when us and the boys, we all watched at Edmund's house Hot Rod.
Yeah.
And we were having a good time, and there's that scene in Hot Rod where he, like, makes a movie, Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, this guy's an
a moron.
yeah. And you turn to me and you're like, fuck, I hope that Degreaser's not like this.
Yeah.
And then that was the solidification that it's not like the movie in Hot Rod.
For sure, yeah.
And this is an actual film.
Yeah. I think you were even saying, Max, and I think about it now, and I was telling Jim the other week, like, when you dropped me off at the cinema and you saw me innocently run across the road with my little barrel and my little poster to the cinema, to the unknown, and there was going to be 170 people there. Like, it was interesting hearing you, because it's not like you didn't have faith.
Yeah.
But I knew at the back of my mind always that, like, people are going to see this. And you do think, you know, because I'm so close to it, it's like you just don't know if it's actually going to land and if it's going to be a big gimmicky joke, and people are going to look at you like, oh, poor kid.
Dude, that day, I dropped him off, and he's got his Degreaser barrel and his poster under his arm, and he's like,
stenciled out.
Little painting.
So cute.
you know, and all I wanted to do, but all I wanted to do was be there with him as your big brother, as your, you know, I know how hard you've worked on it, and I said from day one, like, I mean, you know, what you do within our family. There's been like you're the first one to do it. Like you've got your inspiration from your passions and all that sort of stuff, but it's something that we couldn't really help you with, other than try and help you with the acting and try and help you create this what you wanted to make. But it is such a ballsy thing to put yourself out there, and
100%.
you've created a world, you've created characters, you've created a story, and when I dropped you off that day, and I feel like Jim was like a big pillar for you through the whole thing, and you were there, and I knew that you were just as fucking nervous. But you know what? When you went up there and did the speech, it made literally like I was 2 seats away from Mum. Mum was bursting out into tears like straight away. When you went up there and just made that speech, I was just like, "Fuck!" Like you don't need like you can cross the road by yourself with your your poster.
That's a nice thing to say.
Oh man, it's just a proud, very very proud moment, and to do it with your best mates and grow even closer in that. And a cool thing I'll always remember, which is not degree. Well, it's all I know it's all degrees related, but when we were doing Nocturnal Celluloid, and you said to Billy like, who the fuck does this?
Yeah.
Who dresses up like
because a random like Friday night.
Yeah,
going out or like doing something else.
Like, who
dressed as Vietnam guys?
Yeah, like who does this shit? But you guys have got such confidence just to be like, well, we fucking do it. And it's so cool, and like I said, it's just so ballsy. So yeah.
Top job.
And the movie's over now. It's a black screen.
You were talking, and I was looking at the scene where you were. Yeah, you were getting buried, and you were burying old mate. Some of the angles in the shots was just like.
That's one of my favourites.
It's honestly like.
Yeah, visually.
I'm going to say a real movie because of course it's a real movie, but it's like fuck. That's like the scene of that could be in any film, in any era, in any day, and even that scene there. It's just that just looks like a classic Mad Max 1 type.
Type beat.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying you're copying that, but it's just like...
It does.
I look at things like that and go, fuck. Oh, yeah, unbelievable. There was no scene like that in that, but it's just that feel, you know?
Max was jacked as well.
It's like, look at that.
After the premiere, was like,
Fucking unreal.
slowly.
Yeah.
And you look so different from the start to here.
And,
as well.
you're looking at him now thinking... now, I know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Even though, not predictable, but it was like you're looking at it and you go, "Fuck, something's going to happen."
Yeah.
And this was I remember reading the original script of the ending, and I
need a piece, but keep it all.
I threw in my 2 cents, because I sort of, at this point, I didn't want to be like, oh yeah, well, I've just been a part of my first movie sort of thing. But I had a feeling I didn't want it to end the way the original script was meant to end.
Right.
Not that I thought, my character was, I wanted him to be more the hero or something like that. Yeah. But
you drew emotional connection to it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, the whole process of what they did together. Yeah. I was like, nah, there has to be that revenge element, like a little bit.
I need to do this for me, mate.
I need to do this for me, mate, because that's the type of bloke that I felt like the character that I learned. That's what he would do. Like and he'll be patient, and he'll wait, and he'll he'll hang in.
And smart, and you're gonna get your fucking day.
Yeah, and that's and it is not to say that that's the Aussie way, but it is a very nah, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get yours.
You'll get your fucking day, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So...
I'll have the last laugh.
Yeah. And I remember Billy, there were so many times that we redid this scene as well, where I, like, skinned my knuckles, and he wanted me to be, more angry. But, the first... do you want to talk about the first... script, like what was actually in the script, like for the ending?
Yeah.
The ending was I always wanted to feel like epilogue-y. Like I always loved in novels, like, you know, the epilogue sort of like the aftermath of what's happened. And I feel like that's what I wanted to do with this one. And but initially the ending was sort of the same result. Like Vic, you know, Val had died and Vic had taken Bernie under his wing. And he's like, you're going to learn from me, and you're going to sort of you're going to sort of pay back what you owe me. So you're going to try and get my business off the ground, and you're going to work for me because my guy just quit. And you say that in the dialogue previously. So it was going to be the same thing. Like Bernie was working for Vic, and it was very mundane and boring.
Yeah.
But no, actually, there was also a shift in the relationship. You and Vic had gotten along with each other, and it was like a mirroring of what happened with Jack and Vic before, of him leaning in the window and them having a bit of a relationship, and like having a bit of a friendship, you know, work relationship.
As hard as he was
yeah,
sort of,
you sort of gotten to know each other then, and Bernie was completely enthralled, and he was happy to change his life to work for Vic. He'd found his calling. So after Vic would leave, a Cadillac would pull in, and two women would get out, and they'd be sales ladies, and they'd be a mirror of Bernie and Val, but the real deal, legit. And Bernie would say, "Look, say no more. I'll go get the money. I'm sold." Just like Foxy did.
Yeah.
And like how Foxy came back with a gun, Vic would come back with a wrench. He smacked the Sheila in the face, split her head open, blood's pouring everywhere. They're screaming and crying, and he's like, "And fuck off, like fuck off." And then it would hard
Heavy. Almost like.
and hard
I didn't know that.
hard cut movie would end. and I still think it's like there's something there. Maybe I gotta but it was really brutal. Yeah. And I remember Max saying, "Look, this is like weak. It's like we've gone through the whole movie to get to
It
this.
just felt compressed. Like,
Very compressed, and like the ending band. The epilogue was like 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
But he said Bernie wouldn't do that, and I was like, wow, you really know who your character is now. Maybe even better than me, which is what I wanted at the time. And Max suggested that Bernie should get vengeance, and he should fucking kill Vic for Val, and he should go about his business like he always has, calm, cool, collected, observant, but make like the biggest sale he's ever had, which would be taking vengeance from what he did to Val.
We didn't want to do it in a way that was like your cliche. Wait for him to get out of the car, and you know. We wanted it to be sneaky, and you know the whole of
It's like
of what they do.
It's like 16 months later as well.
Time you and I had any tension on the set when it got.
Yeah, I'm like, well, what do you want me to fucking yell, or I'm yelling? And Billy's like, no, you're not yelling. I want you to fucking, you know,
Like I just
you're not just hurt. You're fucking,
Yeah. And
you
you
know.
know the feeling when you fucking
Yeah.
your knuckles on something when you're using a ratchet and you slip.
yeah,
But no, this is like the whole last half an hour is I fucking love it. Like it feels like a book to me. It feels like an epilogue of a book.
Yeah,
like what
yeah.
happens after everything's really happened.
yeah.
The key story's taking place, and this is just the cherry on top.
It is.
And,
This last little bit.
Yeah, you're just fucking incredible in this part.
Oh,
I love that. You come around.
I think Vic's not here and he's not coming back. Like even saying that, I was just about like I'm fucking there. Like I'm gonna get him. So I'll get a beer.
Thanks, mate.
No beer for Muggsy.
So here comes Vic. Vic's been a thug out on the road.
It's already here.
Yeah, this was meant to be a tow truck. This whole time,
Yeah.
Like, the whole like sort of last act of the film when Vic's coming to get some of his own vengeance. It's going to be in the tow truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like 6 months later.
Yeah.
Bernie was meant to have a mullet. Well, I was meant to try and find a really good wig, and he was meant to have a mullet. But I like the shaved head. But you can tell, like, you've got your guns out, and you've just got a different attitude now. Like, it's sort of mundane, and it's almost to the point where it's boring. This last part, but that's what I want. I want not boring in a way like nothing's happening, but we've gone through the whole movie. You know these characters.
Like that.
Now let's just watch them hang out for like the last half an hour. Let's just see what's happening, because it is just a ticking time bomb. We're just waiting for something to happen. And a lot of people were saying too, I was waiting for Bernie to push Vic's buttons enough, because that was a whole other thing I thought about too. I wanted to make it, what the fuck is going to happen here? What's happening? People were saying, I honestly thought Vic was going to go, fuck this cunt, fuck Bernie, fuck this little smart ass, and people thought, I just thought you were gonna walk in front of the desk and just cap Bernie straight away. But that's what we wanted, and and also as well the side characters too. People, and what I thought as well, and what they were saying was, I thought Alex was going to rock up and something was going to happen. I thought Christian was going to rock up, or Lily could even rock up. You know, there's so many side characters, or Max Piscicali.
Well, I said, and at this point, that's sort of like the best part of a movie when a movie made.
Yeah.
It's like fuck.
When it's not his toilet.
What's gonna happen here? You know, is he gonna do something to him? Is it gonna be the other way? It's not predictable, is what I'm saying. You know, and I don't think it ever was. You know.
All the time.
About what?
This, I'm just saying, like the way these conversations on the phone are.
Yeah.
Very much like what happened.
Oh, 100%. We've heard this same conversation over the years when things were quiet. Tell them to fuck off. You know, it's like they're gonna say, well, yeah. Back in that day, they used to use those words. You know, not today. No. We've all learned that you just
This isn't a left-wing movie either.
Nah.
This is a reality.
Look at him.
I remember in the cinema, I laughed the hardest to that line when you're like, I'll knock every tooth out of your head, you little faggot. And I remember laughing. Yeah, it's on. Yeah.
That movie is perfect. It's like, you know what?
Yeah.
It's on.
Yeah. And I remember as well, like, by this point, you and Jet had rocked up on set and we were filming. And this was sort of the last day, and through the last process of Degreaser, I actually ruptured my ACL and fractured my tibia on a motorbike, like maybe about a month before. And I was going into surgery like a week after we wrapped filming. And I remember like limping around with a camera the whole time, being like, I have to finish this fucking movie.
Like 40 degrees.
Yeah, because I knew if I went into surgery and came back out, we wouldn't have finished it, and it wouldn't have been as good. But I knew it was like 35 degree heat, Sunday afternoon, and I've got a knee strap on. I remember my ACL was ruptured, and I was like, I have to fucking finish this thing. And I was worried because I was like, am I rushing it? But it was just
Jen
like,
and I were here for this one.
yeah, you were all here. We're all on set at this point, and the time was ticking. We were getting closer and closer to like the official end of it, and it just didn't feel real. It felt like it was just like it felt very surreal to me. Like it felt like a dream where it was like we're at the last day of shooting, nearly 3 years after the start, and like this is it. And it was coming. And I also, not to sound too cliche, but the way the characters were feeling was very much how I was feeling. Like it was like sort of this aftermath of the ride we had gone on, and my knee was busted. I knew I was going into surgery, and I was like, fuck, like this is how it's ending. I was so keen to get it done, but I was like, there was something melancholy about it because I didn't want it to end either. Like there was a part of me that was like, I could just keep filming this movie forever. Like
a 6-hour movie.
Yeah.
This part, I remember it was around this time when we were also recording No Sights Untied. So it was like that was the absolute wrap, and we knew that we were like, this has to wrap this whole thing up.
Yeah.
And you wanted to sing it, and you wrote it.
Yeah.
And it was just like the feeling that it gave. I remember you sent me Tallahena Sky by Kings of Leon. Like that nice, just sort of like, it's the end of the day, there's a nice orange sunset coming down feeling.
It feels like the end.
Yeah, it feels like the end.
Yeah.
And it was just a nice feeling. And wow, that was it.
There he goes.
And that, I was behind the camera there with you.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that was surreal. Seeing Vic go down. Yeah, what was like? You just speak, Max. Just what are you going to say about like the last day?
I was just like sort of watching just not even the gunshot bit, but the when Bernie's talking to Vic when he's under the car. Vic's for the first time, even before the gun shot through the head. He does have that look of like he doesn't know what to do next. Like he's in it, and he talks about Val, and he retaliates to, shut the fuck up, and he's I don't know. You feel like he's beat right there and then, like we've got him.
Look at that.
So
after he's done the deed.
Yeah, and I guess this bit's just
And And
It's so cold,
I think-
but it's like I've been planning. I've thought about this for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always, as well, like it's just very a broad thing to say, but this shot here, like in the way this character's feeling, I'd envisioned this shot for about like 10 years, like getting like to the end of a fucking movie and just holding a shot like that on a character. Because if you were just to to start a movie with that shot, you know nothing about the character, you know nothing, but to get through a journey and to just put the camera, plan it so simply, and just put it on a character and watch him look out into nothing.
Yeah.
That's a tick on the box. That's a great
No
achievement.
sights outside.
No sight. Yeah, I'll shut up this shot sort of just came together like towards like the last shoot. I was like, well, why don't I just mirror the shot before? And I think this is what the story's about. To me, at least, the film's about friendship. It's about fucking mateship and having each other's backs. And I'm sure when people saw it for the first time, like, wait, is Val alive? Val is a ghost. Val's gone and he's not coming back. But that's what it's about. The movie's about fucking friendship and two buddies. And Val will probably be with Bernie. They were they're closer than you think. So yeah. Do you want to sign it off, Maxie, on this last
Just
shot?
remember, like, riding the bike here and the handlebars were like, every time you gas it, there was like play in the handlebars, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, obviously, going past Billy and that there, standing there with the camera, knowing that this was the last shot, and just the whole vibe. I remember Billy wearing a sombrero that day, and his knee was fucked, and everyone, you know, you guys are all there, and it was just, it was so cool. It was just the ultimate sign off.
And it's hard to like just feel dead air and speak, but I'm just watching it now and I'm just completely.
Great song too.
It's a great. As much as it pains me to hear, but
It was Bill. Bill wrote it.
yeah, so I wrote it, but Jim made it happen. But
Well done.
yeah,
Well done.
and
Should be very proud of yourself.
very proud. All of us. What do you got to say about No Sights? What's the you know what? Let's go around and say just after watching this now, what do you think?
I think it was the most fulfilling experience I've ever had to do with something creative in my life, by far. It was so much fun, all of it. And No Sight specifically, this song was the most fun to make. And I was just at the end going around to like people's houses because the last bit where you wanted it to be like everybody is singing, I was going around to people's houses with this setup, with the mic and everything, and just be like, sing this. Sing. And I've got some outtakes of that because there's a bit where it's like I'm coming in early, like no sights, and it's just funny as, but yeah, really good.
Well, what can I say? Haven't watched these scenes or watched the movie probably since the premiere. Yeah. And it's very hard to not try to watch it, even as we're talking here. And I'm looking at these scenes going.
Yeah, that's how I keep finding myself. I'm like, in the conversation, I'm watching.
It sort of just reassures like the whole thing of what you've done. It's just amazing, mate. You've done a fantastic job. You should be very proud of yourself, mate. Yeah. And look, you look at the old man there, and you know all those things. And no, look, it's something we've done together as a family. Obviously, you've made it all happen. We've done our thing along the way, but I just think it's something we'll never do it. Never be able to repeat this again. I don't believe what we've done.
The same experience.
I'm not getting too sort of soppy with everything, but you know what I mean. It's like
But it's there forever.
it was like this idea that you come up with and what you wanted to do, and you fucking nailed it.
No, thanks.
Well done, mate.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Very proud.
John.
Mate.
Thank you.
What do you think, brother?
Send it off, mate.
Honestly, it's probably one of the things that I'll remember forever. Like, it's hard when that No Sight's untied, and the screen goes to black. I just will. I'll always feel like I'm in the cinema at the premiere. People standing up and clapping, and just that feeling of like you'd done it. People had seen it. What you've worked for, what you guys have all worked for, all come into play, and be exactly what you wanted, and to have your movie premiere in a theater, and to have all your favorite people around you, but just the whole experience is so good, and I'd never done anything like this before. I never thought I'd be a part of something like this before. And yeah, just to see you do what you do with, you know, all your best buds and that around you guys, and yeah, it's just, I'll be forever proud of what you've done. So yeah, what a time! What a fucking time!
What a fucking time! Yeah.
What a ride!
Yeah. And I think as well, I always thought bloopers were like sort of corny in movies. For certain movies, they fit perfectly, and I never wanted bloopers, but it's so important for especially for this. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, and I'd never, and I couldn't imagine what the movie would be like if this wasn't at the end, because yeah, like everything was there. Every shot we're smiling in the behind the scenes, like it was just such an amazing experience. Yeah, like that's just like, that shot is probably the most iconic thing just for me to look at. Like, you get that framed and you look at it when you're 70 years old and you say, look what we did, you know. It's yeah, but it's crazy to just see it all come to an end like that. Feels like a blur since we've been sitting here, but I suppose just to top it all off, it was an amazing experience, and fucking, I know it's the first thing everyone ever says, but it really was. I mean, we made a movie, we made a good movie, I think. I'm very proud of it, and it's what Woodstock Roadshow is all about, just getting together with your friends and family and telling a little story here and there. So I'm forever in debt to all the hard work you boys did, and hopefully we can do it again sometime, you know, if you'll have me. Thank you. To everyone, if you got anything to say, go watch Degreaser. It's been out for a year. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video we've cooked up for yous. Here's to many more.
That's it.
Send it off. Go on, Jim. All of you, say something.
Thank you so much for watching and being a part of it. We do this because we love it, and we'll continue doing it because we love it. That's it.
Yep. Cheers, everybody. Bat a ball and get behind Woodstock Roadshow. Cheers, Bill.
Yeah, I believe it's the first of many of what these guys are capable of, like, you know, and what they're going to bring to everyone in the future. I don't know, the most inspiring thing is, obviously, I've seen a whole another side to independent filmmaking, and yeah, there's no reason why you guys should ever stop doing what you guys do, because this sort of shit needs to be getting created, getting shown. People need to experience it. I think it's really important for you guys moving forward to not stop doing this, and also just important for these types of films to keep getting made.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, and just finally, just congratulations and well done. Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Ching, ching.
What's that? Birdie here signifies the day we miss
Billy missed the shot.